What's up, Fight Game Media? This is J.D. Oliva. I'm here with 2020 Olympic hopeful, still maybe, Joe Rau. We're going to talk a little bit about what Joe has going on right now. And I'm not one to typically talk about how referees influence sports, but what happened at the Olympic trials was one of the worst miscarriages of justice that I've ever seen perpetrated on a wrestling mat. And Joe, why don't you kind of explain to people kind of what happened and where your head was at when this whole thing was going on?
Yeah, well, I was just focusing on the wrestling, and little did I know that I was about to step onto the mat and have a ref just completely intervene in so many crazy ways like I've never had before. I didn't know this, but my coach tried to get another ref. We requested a different ref from a bunch of people with USA Wrestling, including the guy who runs the whole tournament and the national team staff, and they didn't help us out at all. My coach Brian Medlin, he was a wrestler for the Marines, and he was actually teammates, so he knew that this ref was a wrestler for the Marines, and so was my opponent. So obviously there's a bias there, right? There's a conflict of interest.
Before we even go,
I didn't know about.
Before we start looking for, let me preface this. So you're in the finals, right, of the Olympic trials. This is your second time making an Olympic team, trying to make an Olympic team, I should say, and getting it kind of snatched away, right? You are the number one seed. You are wrestling a Marine wrestler, and there's a Marine official on the mat. And I'm going to break this down. People may not understand Greco-Roman wrestling is you throw the kid for 4, you get 4 points, and you're about to hit him for another 4 points, which is 8 points, which in a Greco-Roman wrestling match is over. That's it. That's the match. The referee literally stopped you from scoring. So I wanted to preface this for people that might not understand kind of what the scenario was. So a referee literally stopped you from scoring points.
Yeah, and that was what was crazy. So everything I was talking about, I didn't even know what was going on. That happened between my coach and everybody else. But yeah, when I went out there on the mat, I was just focused on wrestling, and I threw him, and I got 4 points, like you said, and I threw him again, and he blew the whistle halfway through me doing the second throw. And yeah, like 8 points is a technical fall. So, when you pin somebody, we call it a fall. A technical fall is like a slaughter rule, it's like slaughter rule in baseball or something, it means you just scored so many points that you win, so they stopped me, even though it would have been 8 points, like as I was scoring it, and for no reason, and I was given no explanation. And you could tell from the video, I'm kindly asking, like, well, what happened? Why'd you stop it? And I got no explanation. I was actually kind of threatened and screamed at, and
By the official.
I remember at one point him just putting his finger in my face and kind of pushing me a couple of times, and he even said, like, you're so lucky that I don't disqualify you. And I'm like, what is the rule here? Like, what is the call here?
So he said that after he said that after the first front headlock. He said, you're lucky I don't disqualify you.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was the first time or the second time, because he did it again. I got a front headlock, and right as I was going to score, he blew a whistle. And then that one was really crazy the second time. Yeah, so the second time around, my opponent, there's a lot of little things going on the whole match, but my opponent, I'm about to either push him out of bounds or score, another turn. And as I'm turning, he blows the whistle, which was also, like, I felt like not fair. He's blowing the whistle like as I'm taking turns, and it's like, how am I supposed to stop my action mid-action, and why should I be penalized for that? And he never really gave me an explanation. I see him, from watching the video, he kind of says that I'm choking him, but the front headlock has always been a move so common in wrestling. We use this, and so he stops that action, he blows the whistle, then he cautions me, and he gives the other guy 2 points. And instead of giving me my points, he gives the other guy 2 points, and then he puts me down, which is a very advantaged position for the top guy, especially when I've been getting screwed with this whole match. And like my head was so messed up at that point where, this ref just constantly talking to me, because there was little things too. The whole time he's saying, "Hey, head up," even though my head's way higher than my opponent, or off his hands, or like, or I'm about to, like, I have him close to the zone, which is like, if I push my opponent out of the circle, I get a point. So I'm close to pushing him out, and they just blow the whistle and just bring us back to center, even though there was no stalemate situation. So it was a really weird match where this ref was constantly talking to me, and then, so I was really it really messed me up through my head for a loop, because when they do put me down after that, which I was confused, and I again didn't get any explanation. And I think that's when he said, like, "You're so lucky I don't just disqualify you." And I'm like, I'm just trying to ask him, like, what's the call here? What happened? Like, is this really the rules? And he just was screaming at me, and basically it was threatening me that if I don't just keep wrestling, I'm going to be disqualified, even though he's yeah, I'm so lucky, and he's doing this.
He's
But
making this is an official. This is a USA Wrestling International official that is literally making things up as the match is progressing. So he's taken away 2 possible tech fall situations from you. Then he hits you with a penalty 2 points and puts you down on the mat where you give up 4 points. So this man has completely swung the match. Like, we're talking a 10-point swing in Greco-Roman wrestling, where points are really hard to come by to begin with. Like, this is I don't know if I can explain this to
yeah,
people. This is